Welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today I'm gonna try out Jahoda, our newest 4-star character, who is also kind of a fan favorite. Everyone loves her, she's amazing in the Archon quest. So yeah, I can't wait to see what she can actually do gameplay wise. She's an Anemo healer, which is kinda rare. It's been a while since we last got an Anemo healer. I think Xianyun was the last one, that's been a few years ago. And I think she's the first 4-star Anemo healer, if I'm not forgetting anyone. But yeah, let's just take a look at her build. So my Jahoda has 1500 attack, a bit of elemental mastery as well, and 27 crit rate with 114 crit damage. I didn't really aim for crit, but got a bunch of crit damage rolls anyway. But yeah, she's not a DPS, so it doesn't really matter. She also has a bunch of healing bonus because I gave her a healing circlet, and she also has healing bonus as her ascension stat, and a lot of energy recharge since the healing comes from her burst. And yeah, she's actually only level 80 because after leveling up Durin, I was very low on resources, so I wasn't quite able to get her to level 90, but it should be fine for now. The weapon I'm using is the Sacrificial Bow, simply because it has pretty high base attack and her healing scales of attack, and also has energy recharge as its substat. And with the passive, we can maybe sometimes use her skill a second time for some more energy particles. But yeah, Favonius Bow should also work really well. It's just that I only have one leveled Favonius Bow, and that's only on Diona. And I don't really like sharing weapons between characters. I want each character to have their own weapon. But yeah, as for the artifacts, I of course went with Viridescent Venera. It's just the best set for almost every Anemo character. And yeah, I tried to get attack and energy recharge, but wasn't quite able to get it on every artifact. Like here, for example, I got a lot of crit rate rolls. And the feather is also really sad, not a single energy recharge roll, just a bunch of HP and a bit of elemental mastery. And I'm using an energy recharge Sands with a bit of attack and also too much crit again, and an attack goblet that actually rolled into energy recharge. So I got lucky at least on one of these artifacts, and a healing bonus circlet with crit, EM, and energy recharge. Constellation is 0 for now, but I do actually have 2 constellations for her, so I'm probably gonna activate them later on in the video. And the talents are at level 6, 8, and 8. So that's my Jahoda build. Now the thing with Jahoda is that she works best in Ascendant Gleam, you know, she works best when you use her with at least one other Nod-Krai character. The problem is that on this account I don't have any Nod-Krai characters aside from Jahoda herself, and where is she? I know. And she is not really built yet. I mean, I'm working on her. She's already level 70, as you can see. But yeah, the weapon is not leveled up. The artifacts are also not leveled up yet. But at least she has a full 4-piece set, which is the most important thing for her. And yeah, she's C0. And the talents are also not really leveled. So very work in progress, I know. But if I wanna make full use of Jahoda, then I kinda have to use her with Aino, since I don't have Flints or Nefer or Lorma. But usually you would play Jahoda probably with Flints or Nefer, because she can actually buff Elemental Mastery with one of her passives. Yeah, 100 EM when she heals the active character. So that passive basically exists so she can support Nefer and Flints with their Lunar Charged and Lunar Bloom reactions. But even without other Nod-Krai characters, she can still shred resistance with Viridescent Venera and heal, which in and of itself is already pretty valuable. So there are definitely gonna be some characters that she can support. Now it would be nice if you could just, you know, use 2 Jahodas, because there are 2 right here, but sadly that's not possible. So yeah, let's just try to build a team now. And yeah, like I said, we definitely have to put Aino in here to make full use of Jahoda's entire kit. And then I guess just any DPS that has an element that can be swirled should work, like Alekino maybe, or Ayaka, Varesa. Yeah, their elements can all be swirled, even Nuvelet. But yeah, for now let's just go with Alekino, because with Aino we have a decent amount of Hydra application, so we can maybe get some waves. And then with the Jahoda we shred the resistance. That should result in some pretty good damage. And then I guess for the last slot we could use Lumine with Cinder City for some more elemental damage bonus, or Bennett, I guess, for the attack. Yeah, let's just go with this team for now and just see how it works. Let's actually use Jahoda's skill here first and see. Oh wait, I thought she was gonna sprint like Lynette. They showed that in the livestream, but does it only work in combat? I thought it was an exploration skill, kinda like Lynette's or Yelan's. But yeah, no, she only does this little attack. Okay, well, guess I misunderstood that. And yeah, now let's go in and fight Mercenary here. But actually, I'm gonna remove one of the Pyro characters from the team real quick. Because I first wanna see what she can do without any resonance, like the pyro resonance, which would increase attack, which would increase her healing. But I first want to see just her capabilities without that. So let's go in. And yeah, I guess we can just apply an element and then try out this. Yeah, now she runs around. Okay. And then she uses this to attack. Yeah, she constantly attacks now with Hydro. Okay, so that's how it works. The damage is, of course, not that great. But, oh, did you see that there? The sacrificial bow effect was activated there. From one of these hits. Okay, so they do count as skill damage and can activate sacrificial. So we can use the skill again before it even is off cooldown. That is good to know. But yeah, now we have the burst. So let's see the healing now. Let's actually let him hit us first a few more times. Okay, there we go. And as far as I know, she mostly heals the active character, but can also heal another character if they are lower HP than the active character. So let's get Aino down a bit as well. And now let's do this. Okay, we get like 4000 healing. And is Aino getting hit? Yeah, she's getting healed as well, even though she's off-field. Okay, that's good. And it lasts for quite a long time, it seems. Yeah, we almost got Aino back to full without even switching her on the field. That's actually not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, let's do this again, because we didn't see the burst attack there, because we didn't infuse it with an element. But it can also do some damage, not just healing. Oh, and Jahoda's skill also works off-field. So with this, we can actually get even more Hydro application here, which could make the waves more consistent for Alecchino then. I see, okay. But now he has Hydro applied, so if we use the burst now, and yeah, now we are actually doing damage as well. Stop blocking Masanori, but yeah, it's not a lot. Okay. So the burst can do a little bit of damage, but it's really, it's almost nothing. But it's some additional Hydro application there again. So depending on how we do this, we could actually get really consistent waves with Alecchino, but we also want to swirl the Pyro. That might be difficult. Let's just actually use Alecchino now. And see how much damage she does without Jahoda, so that we can then compare it to with Jahoda. Okay, yeah, we're doing like 25 to 30k for normal attack. And now again, but this time we use Jahoda to swirl the Pyro. Did we swirl it actually there? Yeah, there we did. Okay. And yeah, now we're doing 41 over 30k there. I saw one over 40k hit. And that's basically just the artifact set, which yeah shows you how powerful Iridescent Venera actually is. But yeah, if we actually do this now, swirl the Pyro like this, and then apply Hydro, and do this. Okay, now we got infused with Pyro, not Hydro. Oh well, let's just... Yeah, okay, 42k there. I don't think I did this setup right. So let's just go back in and try this again. Also, one thing to consider is when it comes to vaping, that 100 EM buff that I showed before is of course also pretty useful. Now the question is, does it actually work with Alecchino? Because Alecchino can't be healed. So can she actually get the 100 EM? That's also something that we should test. So my Alecchino has actually 0 elemental mastery, which is part of the reason why I most of the time play an overload, not vape. So now if we switch to Alecchino and wait for a bit. Oh, actually 100 EM. Okay, so it does work on Alecchino, even though she can't be healed. The effect still works, which definitely should help with the waves. Okay, that's good to know. But yeah, let's charge the burst again. And now I guess we just do this and this, and we try to vape. Okay, yeah, seeing some pretty good damage there. A bunch of over 40k hits. Not bad. Okay, yeah, I'm actually seeing some potential here for an Alecchino vape team with Jahoda and Aino. But yeah, we've pretty much seen how this team works now. So putting Bennett here and going back in, we would see higher damage, yes, but that's not really the point here. It's more just about showing Jahoda's utility, I guess, how well she can swirl stuff and apply elements. that the damage is gonna be better with Bennett goes without saying. So instead of doing the same team just with one other character, I'm actually gonna try a different DPS now. So how about Ayaka? How about we do a freeze team? I wanna see if Jahoda's Hydro application alone is gonna be enough to keep Masanori frozen. Like, of course, with Aino and Jahoda together, it should be more than enough. But let's leave Aino out of it for now. She's just in the team to have Ascendant Gleam. Let's just try with only Jahoda. We just apply Hydro, then do this, and this. And now he should stay frozen the entire time. Yeah, seems like he does. Yeah, he's not getting out of this. So it's definitely enough Hydro application for a freeze team like this. For sure. And of course we can also swirl the cryo here for some more damage and then use Aino for the freeze instead. Which is actually the better thing to do. But yeah, now in the second phase Masanori can't actually be frozen. But we are doing good damage, even without Ayaka's burst. Let's actually see how much of a difference it makes exactly. So, her skill does 23k without any buffs, and then with Jahoda 33k. Okay, that's 10k more. Again, just with the Viridescent Venera Rest Shred. Yeah, it's just a really good artifact set and Jahoda can make good use of it. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Jahoda, she just works. She does what she is meant to do. Works as intended. Just does some Viridescent Venera Rest Shred. She heals a bit. Does some offbeat damage. Like, it's really nothing revolutionary. It's nothing we haven't seen before. It's nothing other characters can't do. But it works, you know? I don't really know what else to say about it. It's a simple but functional kit. I actually wish I could have tested her with Linz and Nefer. But, well, yeah, like I said, I don't have them on this account, sadly. And on my main account, where I at least have Nefer, I'm saving for Columbina, so I'm not rolling there on the Druin banner. So no Jahoda on my main account, sadly. But yeah, with that being said, there's just one more thing to do for this showcase, and that is check out her constellations. And her C1 actually doesn't do much, it just gives her skill a 50% chance to bounce between enemies, and then deal a bit more damage, I guess, depending on how many enemies she actually hits. But since the damage is not that great in the first place, I don't think this constellation is gonna make much of a difference. But yeah, just activate it and try it against, well, not really Masanori, because there are no enemies here to bounce it to. So I guess we're just gonna find some Hilichos or something. Okay, so let's just apply a random element to them with Ayaka, and then we do this. And now it didn't bounce there, I think. Yeah, because it's not even guaranteed. It's only a 50% chance to bounce. 50%, yeah. Okay, so while editing the video, I realized that I actually kind of misunderstood the constellation. You can actually see that the Hilichos here in the background got hit a second time after the initial hit from that cryo ball. I actually thought that the constellation affected the initial hit of the skill, but yeah, it actually is about the, I think they're called flurry meow balls, that it shoots out after the initial hit. Those are the ones that can bounce, which basically means that they just apply a second hit, I guess, like we see here with these Hilichos. So yeah, it's definitely nice to have, but like I already said, it's not gonna make a huge difference. It's overall not a very good constellation. Let's just conclude the C1 showcase here and move on to a constellation that actually changes something, and that's the C2, which only works when you have Ascendant Gleam, so you need another Nod-Krai character, and basically just enhances her plan to get paid talent, which is her first Ascension talent. And this one basically makes it so that depending on which element of these 4 elements you have the most in your party, the burst is gonna have different additional effects. For example, if you have a bunch of pyro characters, then you do more damage, hydro, more healing, electro, an additional robot, and cryo, the attack interval is decreased. So currently we should have the cryo effect because we have Ayaka and Shenhe in the team, so we have more cryo than any of the other elements. If you have the same amount of elements, then it goes in this order, so Pyro goes first, then Hydro, Electro, Cryo. Now basically what C2 does is just that it also gives you the effect of the second highest element. So in our current team, where we have 2 Cryo characters, but also Aino with a Hydro character, with C0 or C1 we only get the Cryo effect, but with C2 we would get Cryo and Hydro, so more healing and less attack interval. And yeah, there's a simple way to try this by just taking some damage. I'm gonna go back to Mercenary for this and heal with C1, which we still currently have. I haven't activated the C2 yet. See how much we heal then. And then if we activate the C2, we should get the Hydro effect, even though we have more Cryo characters in the team, which means more healing, so we should see then higher healing numbers. We heal for 4,400, yeah, like before. Hasn't changed. Still the same healing, is pretty good. Now let's get the burst back and then try this again after activating Constellation. And can I actually activate the Constellation mid-fight? I think I can, right? Yeah. Yeah, now it's over 5,000. 5,300, almost 1,000 more healing. Yeah, so it definitely works. Yeah, the Constellation definitely works. We now get 2 out of the 4 possible effects, depending on which elements we have in the party. Okay, now there's one more thing that I want to find out, and that is what happens if we only have one other element. So if we didn't have Aino here, for example, just Cryo, would we still get 2 effects thanks to C2? And if so, which one would we get? Probably Pyro, since, you know, the order goes Pyro, Hydro, Electro, Cryo, right? Pyro is prioritized, so would we get in a team like this, or, you know, if we have a third Cryo character, Diona, for example, if you have just one element, would we still get like the Pyro effect here? But to answer this, we first have to go back to the Aino version of this team to take a look at the exact damage that Jahoda's burst is doing when we don't have the Pyro effect. Okay, so we just have to apply an element and then use her burst. And now, how much does she do per hit? Yeah, 240. It's, again, not a lot. 515, no, I crit there. 515 again, yeah. 188 now, 403. It's really not great damage, so even if we get the Pyro buff for this to do a bit more damage, it's like, it's still not gonna be much. But, you know, let's try it anyway. Okay, I just realized something after a few failed tries. We actually can't do this. We can't summon her little attack robots with her burst if we don't have Aino, right? I somehow forgot that. But we do need Ascendant Gleam, right? So let's actually try this with a full Hydro team instead. Let's see, let's just do this. And yeah, now we get the robots. And yeah, it's still 240, okay. 515, yeah, it's still the exact same. So we don't actually get the Pyro effect, even if we have the C2. So you do need at least one character of the element to get the effect. I mean, yeah, it makes sense, I guess, but it still was worth trying. Because there are some constellations where if you have the constellation, then you don't even need characters of the element. Like Nahida, for example, comes to mind. I think it was her C1. Yeah, when the Shrine of Maya is unleashed and the elemental types of the party members are being tabulated, the count will add 1 to the number of... So you get an automatic 1 to the count of every element that her burst can be buffed by. Even if you have 0 characters of that element in the team. That's why I thought that maybe with Jahoda it's the same, that even if you have 0 characters of that element, you still get the effect with the C2. But, well, apparently that is not the case. But now if I just replace Nuvelet here with Arlecchino, then I should get the Pyro effect, so higher damage from Jahoda. So yeah, let's just go and try this. Apply an element, use her burst, and let's see. Yeah, now we have 312 per hit. 669 there from the crit. Yeah, it's definitely more, but it's still not a lot, let's be real. Like, even if you build her for damage, I can't imagine that her burst would do much. Her skill does decent damage from what I've seen. So that it might be worth going for DPS, but if you really want to. But she's never gonna be like a top tier DPS. But you know, there's nothing wrong with building her differently if you want to. If you just want to run around with her in the overworld and kill enemies with her elemental skill, that could be really fun, you know? Nothing wrong with trying that. Not every character has to always be optimized for Abyss. But if you do want to use her in endgame content, then yeah, better build her as a healer. Anyway, let's finish off Masanori now. Oh, that actually didn't kill him. Okay. Well, let's finish him off with Jahoda then. Some normal attacks, haven't really used them yet. Oh, is it actually gonna be enough? We're running out of time. Come on, Jahoda. No, she wasn't quick enough. Yeah, no, she's not doing enough damage. But yeah, overall I would say she's definitely a fun character and definitely has some uses. I mean, being able to heal and use the Iridescent Venera is already a pretty nice combo that not many characters have. And then also buffing Elemental Mastery, yeah, she definitely has some things going for her. And like I already said before, her kit is not overly complicated, it's a pretty simple one, but it works. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Jahoda. So that already brings us to the end of this showcase. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, then please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more Genshin Impact and other gacha content. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.